Hello, Kenda. This is those ones that I'd skipped, and we did one of them the other day. So get comfortable. Here's I got my cup of tea and a calculator, pencil and paper. Hopefully you've already done these. If you haven't, go ahead and pause the video. I'm gonna do them the long way first and then punch it in the calculator. I think you know how to punch them in the calculator, but here we go. I will work these two the long way first. Okay, so pause if you need to. If you've already got the answers, I'm gonna do it the long way. I encourage you, and I've got two more after this, I encourage you to do them the long way and then check your answer by doing it with the calculator. So with the calculator, of course, you do tangent and then take the inverse. Do cosine, take the inverse, multiply them together. Okay, and make sure you're in radians. And on the other one, make sure you're in degrees. Okay, so I'll do this. So I'm going to draw it out. Let's see. I'll do my unit circle. Just a little sketch here is all I need. I'm over at pi first. So I'm at pi. Right? This is 0, pi over 2, pi. Same as 180 degrees. -1, 0 is the point I'm at. Cotangent is... Now, if you got a little triangle, cotangent is tangent is x y over x, cotangent is x over y. So cotangent is x over y. Let's see, scoot this up a little bit. Cotangent is x over y, and x is -1 and y is 0. So -1 over 0 is undefined. So we're finished, right? So if you get, on a calculator, that might be the difficult part. If you got a 0 for one of those, for like tangent of pi, we'll check it here. Okay, so go on your calculator, double check yourself. Am I in radians? How do I go into radians? Let's see, shift. No. Clear. How do I do radians? I've forgotten on this. Well, let's see what I get when I do tangent of pi equals, I better get 0. No, I don't. I am in degrees. It says so right there, that D. My bad. I'm sorry. I've forgotten how to change this calculator to radians. You probably know how to do that. Well, then I have to go on faith and I'll figure out another. Oh, here we are. Maybe this is it. Shift 2. Is that radians? No. Okay. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to waste your time trying to find that. Anyways, if you get a 0 for tangent, well, I know how I can do it. Duh. I'm in degrees here. I would just go tangent of 180. Trust, because that's pi, right? 0. Now I get a 0 for my answer, and if I do the inverse of 0, because 0 is 0 equals 0 over something. Right, in this case it's -1, but it doesn't matter. It's something, you know. And if I take the inverse of that, if I flip that fraction over, then I get something, -1 over 0, and that's undefined. So the inverse of 0 is undefined. Okay, so it's a good teaching point in case you didn't know that one. I'm not going to bother with seeking it. I've mumbled and stumbled too much here already, so I'm skipping that one, because undefined times anything is going to be undefined, right? Okay, let's do this one. I'm going to do it the long way. I encourage you to pause, and if you haven't done it the long way, go ahead and do it the long way. All right, I'm going to go my unit circle, 150 degrees. 180 is here. That's 30 degrees back. So I'll draw my little triangle here. Secant is the inverse of cosine, and cosine is the x, so that's going to be a negative, right? Because I'm in the this negative square root of 3 over 2. Maybe you got that one memorized now. This 30, 60, 90. 30, this short side over here would be 1/2, positive 1/2, because I'm positive y, and hypotenuse 1. So secant, so I'll write it down here again. Secant 150 will be inverse of cosine. So it's going to be 1 over negative square root of 3 over 2. And let me simplify that again. Flip that over. And I'll just leave it like this, even though this is improper. Right like this, okay? So there's that one. And I'm going to multiply that times cotangent of 120. Where's 120? Here's 90. Oh, it's the special right triangle again, but stood up in this other way. So I got my 30, 60, 90 triangle again, right? Because this would be 60 degrees right here. Is this, hopefully this is, you can see this. So this other triangle I had 30, 60, 90. Now I've got 60 here, 30 up here. So my short side here, let me draw it a second time. There we go, sorry. Okay, so it's going to be up here, because here's my 120. 120 degrees. So you're getting lots of practice here. And so that means this angle here is 60 degrees. So I can draw my little triangle. I encourage you to do this. It's good for your brain. And in this way you understand what you're doing. So this is going to be negative 1/2, and this is positive square root of 3 over 2, and I got my 1 for my hypotenuse. Okay, so this I think is the key to, if you can do this every time, you got your chart memorized and stuff, no problem, but this way you understand what you're doing and you can unravel something if you get stuck. Okay, so cotangent is adjacent over opposite, right? So it's going to be negative 1/2 divided by square root of 3 over 2, which equals negative 1/2 times 2 over the square root of 3 equals negative 1 over the square root of 3. So I multiply those two together, I will get 2, it's going to be positive 2 over 3, 2/3. Okay, so let's make sure we get that. Secant is cosine, right? I mean inverse of cosine. So cosine of 150 equals, okay, oh, I guess I could put in, let's try to put in the whole thing here. Let's try to, I think you can do it, you got the same basic calculator that I do, right? Let's put a bracket. Let's put cosine. Well, shoot. We're going to have to do the inverse first. We're going to have to do the inverse. Let's see, how would we put all this in here? Secant, as it go, cosine 150, in bracket, times tangent 120, bracket. So then I should take the, and then take the inverse of that, equals 1.5. Ah, great. 1.5 is 3/2. Take the inverse of 3/2, get 2/3. Yay, we checked ourselves. So, you know, in math, another great thing in math, you can always do things more than, get an answer in more than one way. So this way you're checking yourself. You can do it with a calculator, and you can do it with all that craziness, right? Your unit circle and your trig ratios. Okay, let's take a break and we'll do 2 more. Oh, I'm sorry. I would like you to just do these 2. Can you see both those right there? Move my little camera out here just a little more. There. So 2 more just like these, I think. Very similar anyways. You got a cosecant and a cotangent and a secant and a cosine. And so please work these 2, and you can send those to me on WhatsApp, okay? All right, that's long enough. Now we're on to lesson 5.